went to the qualifying school, and I played phenomenal at the qualifying school. It was a 3-day qualifying school, and I shot some like 20 under par, right? Played. Now I'm just like, Dan, I'm like, these guys have no chance.
But tell us, John, where did you grow up? And start there.
Yeah, I grew up in. My parents came here from the Philippines, and my father came first, 1978, I believe it was. I was born not too long after that. I was here. I grew up in Culver City, California, which is down here, not too far from just north of LAX, a few couple miles only, and. So I played I grew up in Culver City. I played all the sports, which I today feel is very important. That you got to be, if you're going to be good at golf, you got to be an athlete, right? So I played everything. All my summers were spent from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Lindbergh Park in Culver City. We played everything. We got in trouble doing everything back home when the lights came on the streets. And I was introduced to the game when I was about 10 years old. My uncle, who rests his soul, the first time we went to go visit him was in Florida, and I'd never played golf, and he was a huge golf nut. I mean, he had a house, a vacation home in Florida where it was on a golf course. So we went to Florida. I'm thinking we were there to go to Disney World. It was the first time I got to meet my uncle when I was 10 and a half. And he goes, I'm going to take you to a driving range tomorrow. And I'm thinking all of Florida is basically Disney World. That's really what I thought. So anyways, we end up at this golf course, this driving range in the middle of Florida. I've never experienced humidity. I've never seen a mosquito. And I'm in the middle of it now. And he's trying to teach my dad how to hit a golf ball. And I'm thinking like, dude, where do we drive? Like, I'm ready to drive something. Let's go. And he goes, no, this is the driving range. And I go, this is stupid, right? So I'm pouting under a tree because I'm thinking I was going to drive, but I'm at some golf course, and I've never golfed. And he's trying to teach my dad how to hit. And it's only those two guys on the range. And my dad can't hit the golf ball to save his life. So somebody left some golf balls, and I grabbed a driver out of the bag and kind of just waggled this thing, and whack, I hit it. And it goes like 130 yards right down the middle. And my uncle turns around and goes, was that you? And I was like, well, nobody else is here. Yeah, it was me. So I go and I hit like 10 more, and I pretty much do the same thing over and over. And he goes, you're going to play golf. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And he bought me a little junior set, a little mini junior set. Back then, they weren't very good. There was like a couple of clubs or whatever it was. And so I still have that set in my garage. Believe it, the very first set that I ever had. I still have it. I hung it up in the garage. So anyways, we come back 6 months later. My dad, I'm fixing it from football practice, and goes, hey, I signed up for a golf lesson at Rancho Park here in LA. And he goes, I get there and I start hitting balls. And at the end of the lesson, the instructor goes, how many years have you been playing? And I go, this is the second time I've ever hit balls, sir. And my dad put me in a golf tournament 6 months later, and I won that. And then my second event, I won also. And that was, I pretty much was hooked on junior. That was my junior golf. And I played some really nice junior golf, enough to, I was ranked 5th in the country. And I had a pick of luckily I had a pick of where I wanted to go, collegiately. And I went to USC. No offense.
None taken. I'm a Bruin, if you guys all know.
So played collegiately, and then I turned professional, and I started chasing the golf ball around in 2000, right after the USAM. I played in the USAM. My final amateur event was at Baltusrol in the USAM. I went, and the same thing happened when I turned professional. The first 2 events I played on the mini tours, it was on the Pepsi tour. I won my first 2 events. So now I'm thinking like, dude, this is easy, right? Like I remember my first check was $1,200, Dan. and I thought I was as rich as they get. You know what I mean? And and then my second event was a 2-day event in Palm Springs, and I won there. And now I'm like, it was a $2,500 check. I never forget these checks. Okay, so I won $2,500. Now I'm like, dude, I own the world. Like, this professional golf thing is gonna be so easy. So then right after that, I go to back in the day. I don't know what they had, if it's still around today, but it was called the Hooters Tour. All right.
Yeah, for that.
And then we played it was mainly in the South and back East. And I went to the qualifying school, and I played phenomenal at the qualifying school. It was a 3-day qualifying school, and I shot some like 20 under par, right? Now I'm just like, Dan, I'm like, these guys have no chance, right? So I come first out of the ranking school. I've set my whole schedule. I'm 20 years old, and I'm in the South, and I go play the first Chad, what's his it? Chad, I'm drawing a blank right now, who was playing out there, but he won a bunch of times on tour. Anyways, he's playing out there, and I'm like, whatever, I got this. Just being young and dumb. I missed the first 6 cuts as a professional.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I realized, I was like, oh, there's really good players in the world.
Yeah. But that's a phenomenal story. So you kind of went through a lot of my questions here, so I'm going to kind of backtrack you a little bit.
Yeah.
But first thing I'm going to ask, because I know there's a lot of golf coaches, why do you think that you understood how to swing the golf club so well almost immediately? What is it that maybe brought that? Because that would be something that we would all love to learn, is what is the development secret to get a John Ray Leary to pick up a golf club and swing it like you're supposed to swing it, instead of doing all the things that most people, when they learn the game, and tend to push the club, chopping, shoving, just don't really understand it. What is your kind of humble opinion on that?
I think that number one, play a lot of sport. Number one, like, play a lot of sport. Just understand how things get pulled around, right? And not pushed around necessarily in the golf swing. But I think also it was just like I see with my son, with Grant, he always has a golf club in his hands. Always. Like, I guarantee if I walk out right now into the living room, he's going to have a golf club watching TV. So that was me. Like, I was always swinging a golf club, even when I wasn't practicing, just around the house. I think there's something to that. And just constantly but just swinging the thing. I think that helps a lot. Sometimes I'll see juniors or adults also, and they won't touch a golf club until the next lesson. And, you and I have had this talk. I go, you know how many times people just get better if they just beat a bunch of golf balls?
Yeah.
Just hold the club and go beat it around for a while.
Yeah, swing it around, carry it around. Just keep moving it around, and you'll kind of figure out what it wants.
Yeah, you start getting a sense of the weight, the mass, you know what I mean? All the technical things we talk about, but just creating a sense of what this club feels like, and the weight of it in my hands, and how I feel resistance, and then I don't feel all those things only happen if you're holding the club. So I think, I really think that had a lot to do with it. Was just, that's why I always laugh with Grant. He's always got a golf club in his hand, no matter what. So that I think that's a big part of it.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Any particular sport you think that led to you having a more natural swing?
Not that I could think of. Any of the, like, I played baseball. I goofed around in tennis. Not like anything. Like, I just played. There wasn't any instruction or anything. But, like, just having a sense of contact. I think, like in baseball, I was always a big hitter in baseball. I always get hit it hard on the tennis court, whatever. I think any of those things are good. But I also think, like, explosiveness. Like, I love basketball, and Grant loves basketball. And I remember as a kid, my dad asking me when I was about 11 years old, 12 years old, he goes, so what sport do you want to play? I think street hockey would be great, Chris. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the hockey players that I work with today, they're great. They're great players. Morning, Brady.
Hey, Brady.
But I think any stick, ball, or contact sport, I think helps a lot in any development. I think I
Yeah.
skateboarded a lot too as a kid.
Could,
And I think skateboarders, like all these kids, I had the pleasure of working with Eric Costin a while ago, who's really good skateboarder, pretty legendary. And just to see how he can move in the ground was really like I really paid attention to that with him, and just to see how natural it came to him. I think skateboarding helps a lot if you can not break anything.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with you on that, which is interesting. In my own golf development, if I could go back and do something different, it would have been, because as I've learned later in life here, how much my stabilizing system doesn't work when it's actually under load. And so if I could go back and skateboard more and crawl more and
yeah,
just
yeah,
do things that to really activate the entire athlete, I think that is the real key there. And
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me. And now you're telling me these stories. I didn't really know this about you. Is that that makes a lot of sense? That swinging a golf would be like, oh, okay, not that big of a deal. Actually, you just kind of have enough experiences that it's like, okay, I kind of get how this works. You have a shape, a picture, and then, okay, and these muscles just kind of know how to work.
yeah. They kind of do. I guess it was probably a perfect storm where I'm grabbing a golf club every day, and then then a skateboard, whatever I was doing at the same time. So I think that might have been probably didn't hurt.
Yeah, and we actually know research has shown that is definitely the better way to develop an athlete, is to get them doing everything and really getting their stabilizer system and their ability to fire and have speed at a younger age really helps. So I just curious kind of how did that lead to John becoming this, what we would call a very talented golfer, but maybe it was just how he was raised.
Yeah.
And we could all be John Ray Leary's.
Well, it's just a product of your environment, right?
Yeah.
That's it. I think we get so technical today with some of the teachings. And it's like, again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about I love like developing players. Just put them in an environment where they can develop, right? And not get so caught up in the minutia of, whatever, making P1.5 perfect,
Right.
So Aaron Smith asked there, what age should they focus on one sport then? For me, it was 12.
That seems to be research I've heard is kind of like that 11, 12, 13, 14 age.
Okay.
I think certain kids would be different, but you can certainly like one sport more than the other. But I encourage all my junior students personally. I don't want them just playing golf until they're about 12 or 13. Yeah. I think that there's just, and even if it's not golf, what if it could be dance, could be something else, do something that stimulates that just overall athleticism. I just think you're going to do yourself so much good as an athlete.
And here's the thing, I grew up and I played with some of the best juniors in Southern California. I could say that the ones that were awesome, let's just say from 11 years old to starting at 11, say up to 18, right? That set of juniors. No. In SoCal, only one of them really made it to the PGA Tour, Jen Park. And I can tell you that a large majority of them just burned out.
Yeah.
They just burned out. And that's just I don't think, some parents really realize that it's just the burnout is real. Mm-hmm. And my son, he didn't start playing golf till he was about 10 and a half, which some people might find kind of weird. Because he needed to find, if he's gonna be any good at it, he needs to first fall in love with it. That's number one. For any player that's gonna get good at this game, they have to fall in love with it. If they don't fall in love with it, I'll show you another person that could get decent but will end up burning out. So for you to be successful in this, the player really needs to fall in love with the game first.
Totally agreed on that one. John, who are your first golf instructors?
Okay, that's Ed Coleman at Rancho Park. I went to Ed Coleman he was my very first instructor. That was after the football practice, right? That's who I met. And then I went to Mr. Ben Hagen, not Walter Hagen, but Ben Hagen, and he taught at Rancho Park. Unfortunately, he passed away after 6 lessons. He had a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
But I can vividly remember Ben. Like I remember him being a really he was a really good player. Yeah, Richard Kim, you know who it is. He was a really good player, and I think I would have stayed with him for quite a while. But then, moving on from Rancho Park, I did work with Steve Biltz. And then as I kind of developed, a lot of the development was just from hitting a lot of golf balls. And that's the other thing you can't substitute is I think every great player or I'm not going to put myself in that, but any great player you see on the tour, or any good player, they at some point they beat a ton of golf balls.
Yeah.
They spent a ungodly amount of time in a golf course hitting golf balls. So then I got to work with Eddie Marins, UCLA coach. I got to work with Eddie from about I'd say age 13 till about 17. 13 to 19. I take that back. Yeah, I got to work with I got to work with the little pro. So I mean, these were great influences on me in my developmental stages for sure.
What was the kind of like the best things you took away from Eddie Marins?
Oh gosh, where do you start? Patience, which I never had. So maybe I didn't take too much of it, but his just the way he would take big pieces, whatever it is, and a lot of times they were like kind of life lessons, you know what I mean? And he goes, you just the stages of everything, I got that from him, how to stay in the present. And here's a little nugget that I still use to this day. He would always get me to toss a golf ball like this. Hang on. He'd get me to toss a golf ball like this and just catch it like this. And I would use that when I was really nervous or had a tough time like focusing. And the main thing that would cover is that you were just staying in the present trying to catch this golf ball. I don't have time to like think about 100 swing thoughts when I'm just tossing the golf ball. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was one of the big things. Aaron Smith, how old are you, Leary?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, here's guessing game segment. Here we go.
Yeah. You can take a guess at it, how old I am.
I got one guess. We got 40 years young.
We got 40. We got a 40. Okay. So we'll let Aaron take a stab at that one.
We'll come
Chris
back.
Says 37.
37. Okay.
So we'll come back to that in a little bit.
That's the fun, the entertaining, the game part here. Guess we don't have any prizes for you, but it just for prize. So you can guess correctly. We'll reveal the answer in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, one last thing, kind of your junior golf. Thanks for sharing that about Eddie Marins, because that's that's awesome to be able to work with such a legend. When did you know you wanted to play collegiate golf, and how did you know?
Oh man, when did I know? It probably wasn't until I think early on, like probably in like 7th or 8th grade, when I started seeing some, having some success on the golf course. And, I kind of noticed, I was like, well, I kind of got better each year. And then I was like, oh, I guess I could probably go to college. And I didn't know anything about like how big a deal that really was. Because I was just so entrenched in just playing the game, because I really loved just playing.
Right.
And it was sort of just more of like a byproduct, right? It was more like, because I did this was the effect. Now, like, other colleges wanted me to come.
Right.
So that was sort of overwhelming as well. Also, to be honest, it was, every day there was a bunch of college, letters and envelopes I would have from packages from schools and stuff like that. And I really didn't know where I wanted to go. Honestly, up to like the last minute, it was honestly going to be, when I looked on it, it was like it was going to be UCLA, USC, or UNLV. Realistically, those were kind of the three that were in the final there. But I didn't, like I said, up to the last minute, I was like, I'm just playing golf. That's all I want to do. I just love competition.
Yeah.
So. But probably early on, about 7th or 8th grade, I kind of had an idea of where I might be. Thanks for watching, everybody, the JRL Golf Academy.
please make sure to link and comment down below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that little bell for notifications. And we look forward to seeing you on the next JRL Golf Academy.